They met in Geneva not because anyone has anything new to say, but because neither side wants to be the one to walk away. This was the diplomacy of low expectations.
We don't expect to resolve our differences here today.
Neither do we.
Even while they spoke, the Russian government released these pictures. More of what they call drills on the Russian side of the Ukraine border. And these are not defensive weapons. The message is not exactly subtle. Look how easily we can sweep aside border defences. In Geneva, the US Secretary of State tried to deliver his message with equal force.
We stand firmly with Ukraine in support of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. We've been clear. If any Russian military forces move across Ukraine's border, that's a renewed invasion. It will be met with swift, severe, and a united response from the United States and our partners and allies.
So what could the West do in response to a Russian invasion? The military options are limited, at the moment restricted to sending weapons to Ukraine.
There is a sustained effort to continue making these deliveries to Ukraine, but I think we have to be cognizant and clear-eyed about the fact that that's not going to change the military balance between Russia and Ukraine. I think it's unlikely to deter Putin. But the goal, I think, is an important one, which is to make this as costly an endeavor for Russia as possible. And I think to send a very clear signal about allied and US resolve to support Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression.
I really hope we don't discover...
So financial and economic sanctions are by far the more likely response, but this menu comes with prices attached.
I think we have to prepare ourselves for negative consequences, whether it's turmoil in the markets, whether it's reduction in value of people's pension pots, whether it's lack of access to energy, whatever it might be. I think we have to be prepared to take those hits if we want to be credible in our threats. And at the moment, the talk is very strong from the Foreign Secretary, from others in the US administration. The talk is strong, but I think the action, as we've seen before, action does not necessarily follow strong words in the way you might think.
The West imposed economic sanctions on Russia in 2014 following the annexation of Crimea. Since then, there's every expectation that the Russian authorities have put a lot of work into reducing their reliance on Western financial markets and systems. In other words, trying to limit the impact of sanctions. So what's left? The one remaining deterrent in the Western arsenal, perhaps, is to impress upon Russia that invading Ukraine, the third largest country in Europe, will drain them of resources and resolve.
It would not be easy. The Ukrainians will fight this. This could end up as a quagmire, and I think that should be seriously considered by Russia.
I think President Putin is gambling wildly that this may be a lot easier than it may actually turn out to be. You hear that Putin is extremely isolated in authoritarian systems, highly personalized ones like Putin's Russia. There's always questions about the quality of information he receives. So I think having foreign leaders be able to communicate that message to Putin is an important one.
The only agreement of substance to come out of today's talks was an agreement to have more talks. And all that can be said of that is, well, it's probably better than the alternative.